What's up, guys? This is Mosquito, and today I'm going to talk about the upcoming patch that is coming for Tekken 8, patch 1.05. And yeah, they are going to nerf Eddy for some reason. Um, I personally didn't really think that he is a top tier character. When they first announced him and they showed the extended showcase of his moves and everything, he looked, in my opinion, actually pretty broken. But once you got to play Eddy, you realized that a lot of his stuff is still, um, yeah, mental mix-ups, and a lot of his stuff is very linear. So he was very steppable when it comes to his big moves that are plus on block that opens up the opponents. And yeah, so realizing that, it was already like, okay, we got a new version of Eddy, but we can't really tell if he is better than the previous one or not, because his performance compared to the rest of the cast isn't that great, or wasn't that great, in the past couple events that happened and the tournaments that really mattered. He didn't really perform that well. Like, the only person who really performed well was John Ding, as he already did before with the even worse version, in my opinion, in Tekken 7. And yeah, so they had the idea to nerf him even further. And I just wanted to go over these changes and to see what kind of direction they are going with him. So I will just start with the general balanced direction that the developers wrote down in the patch notes. They said that Eddy is a character that excels at opening up the opponent with a series of mids and lows. And I don't really see the series of mids. Like, yeah, his running 3 is kind of a good mid, only when your opponent does not have rage. And I haven't even tested what the opponent can do if they still have heat. If heat burst would also cancel basically all of Eddy's options out of his running 3 on block. But against rage art, it's like, yeah, it's a free rage art if you block his running 3, because he ends up in handstand, and you can basically punish him for that. There's no way he can block that. And yeah, so that's one of his more oppressive tools, running 3. And other than that, he has like maybe 4-4 3+4, which is a good mid, but also very linear. Like, all of these moves are easily steppable, and leaves Eddy open to punishment. Other than that, he maybe still is down for 2, which is now 14 frames compared to Tekken 7, which was already 14 frames back in Tekken Tag 2, but whatever. The tracking on that move got increased, I think, from compared to Tekken 7. So this is one of the go-to mids, I would say. Of course, down forward 1 is pretty good. Back 1 is also quite good. And of course, up forward 4 catches sidestepping. But most of these moves aren't like plus on block. The only ones that are, they are very steppable. So I don't feel like he opens up his opponent with his mids. It's rather the low or the lows. But it's mostly, I would say, his 4-4-3, which is also mentioned here in the developer's note of why they think they need to change Eddy's approach, or the approach to this character in general. And yeah, they also had the opinion that his while standing 1-3 and his back 3-3 are also too strong, in the sense of the risk reward is way too much in Eddy's favor, because he can just throw that out, and he's only at -14 on block for both of these moves. And he gets a full launcher, while the opponent, some of the characters who have a 14 frame launcher, they get to launch Eddy back, but most of the cast cannot do it. Eddy himself would only get the down forward 1-3 as a punisher. So yeah, in this game where aggression is the key to this whole gameplay of Tekken 8, back 3-3 would stuff that out completely and would punish the opponent hard, which in my opinion is Eddy should have that, but I don't know. I'm very I'm questioning that decision a little bit, but yeah. So this is like the general direction, right? So they wanted to nerf his keep out option, I would say, or his offensive interrupting tool, I would call it like that, and his approach with 4-4-3. So I will go through all of the changes step by step and give my thoughts on them. And yeah, so the first change they mentioned is the rage art, actually. Apparently it had hitbox issues where the rage art would whiff in certain situations, so they expanded the hitbox upwards, they mentioned. So that's a good fix, I guess. I haven't had many issues with this version of the rage art. Like, his rage art in Tekken 7 was way worse, in my opinion, because he would constantly jump over his opponents, and especially at the wall. And I didn't have many issues with this version of the rage art, but it's good when they fix stuff like that. Then they mentioned something about special style. I don't really care about that because I don't use that, so I won't go deeper into that. But the next thing is rather interesting, in my opinion, and it is his heat burst. It got buffed, or it will get buffed, so that the hitbox, the hitbox is expanded downwards. So what I'm hoping is that for the upcoming patch, it's going to be possible to do combos like this. And then I messed up the timing, but you get the idea. So after this whole combo, after while standing 1-4, when you mash heat burst, that you can maybe combo off of that you get this kind of combo, because right now, as you can see, it was not possible, and I was just trying to find for hours and hours to get some good combo routes with heat in this situation, and I always felt like I should get a heat burst here, but I never got it. So maybe this type of combo is going to be possible now. I would be really happy if they actually did that, because other than that, I didn't really see many routes that you could go for. Like, you really had to, I don't know, even if I do something shorter like this, it just doesn't connect, right? So it's, I don't know if it's currently really just the hitbox or the plus frames. Like there, for example, it will hit, but it's just like, why would you do one strong aerial spin and then go for a heat burst? It doesn't sound like an optimal combo to me. So yeah, I would really love that if this combo here is going to work out in the future. But let's see. Then they expanded his hurt box on certain, I would say, type of moves. I pre-recorded them just to show you. So the moves mentioned were his heat, or like a move that he gets in heat, which is quarter circle forward 4, which looks like this. When he activates heat, it's a huge plus frame, plus 16 it said, on block high. Oh no, plus 9, sorry, plus 16. plus 9 on block high. And apparently the hurt box of Eddy was kind of weird, so that when he uses that move, something like this can happen, right? Your while standing Punisher, you have a read on Eddy where you duck under his big plus on block high, and you just don't get rewarded with it. Like while standing 2, Eddy's while standing 2, if you don't know, it's a mid, it's a big mid. It's like a Kazuya's while standing 2, and it just whiffs, right? So I think they're going to fix that, and other moves, or another move that is fixed with it is his relax relax to 4, which can also be cancelled into Negativa again by holding down. But apparently in this case, maybe some characters also had a problem punishing him when he does that. Eddy himself doesn't struggle here in this situation, as you can see, but I think he has the same properties like he had with the heat activation and the heat move. So yeah, they're going to make it easier for other characters to punish Eddy, which is fair in my opinion. It's okay. It's obviously a nerf for Eddy, but it's like that. Then they buffed his down forward 4, and what they did was, I think, how are they mentioning it? The recovery time has been decreased by 1 frame, and the advantage on block has been changed from minus 13 frames to minus 12. Yeah, so the recovery time decreased the recovery time inflicted on the opponent on hit by 1 frame. So right now, as you can see, the frame advantage is 0. Yeah, so it's neutral on hit. So not big of a reward. But now apparently it's going to be +1, which is pretty nice, I would say. It's a rather it's a quite fast low. As you can see, it's 18 frames, so it's unreactable. But my problem with this is that even on counter hit, it's like, yeah, you get +13, this fake +13, but nothing else. Like in Tekken 7, you actually got a huge follow-up because this move used to knock the opponent down on counter hit. And yeah, we don't really get that. We just get plus frames on hit. And it's only -12 on block now, so I guess it would be a good round ender. Maybe like Kazuya's down back 4 or something. I don't know. But they want, the developers want you to also use other moves, other lows from Eddy, because most of the time you would only use 4-4-3 anyway, because it's such a good move, right? And all the other moves that used to be his key moves are at least -13 on block. Now sidestep 4 got nerfed, so it's -13 on block always. And what else did we have? We had like down back 2 was already really punishable, but down 3, which is previously it had the different input, but I think it was also maybe -14, -13. I don't quite remember. But we always could resort to sidestep 4 being the safest low, from at least from a standing position or a sidestep move. And yeah, as you can see right now, this move is still -13. It's going to be buffed to -12. So this is going to be the only low that we have that is only -12 from standing, which is good that he has one. But since what I wanted to say initially was that since all the other moves were at least -13 on block, we were going to use 4-4-3 anyway because it's -13 as well. But the reward on normal hit and counter hit is so high that it doesn't make sense to use any other move. Like, yeah, now you can use down 4-3 if you have a read on counter because you get a guaranteed crouch throw follow-up, right? Where you can even choose. I can't even do the input right now. I'm just too tired. Okay, there it is. So where you can choose if you go into heat or not, if you do either the 1 or the 2 throw. So that was the 2 throw. Eddy doesn't activate heat. If I do the 1 throw, then I activate heat, right? So it's pretty nice. But even then, as I said, if they block at -13, only this move gets through. It's like it's minus on hit, and it does only 10 damage. Whereas if you hit 4-4-3, it does 20 damage. It's +6 on hit. You get a free mix-up. It's just to go too low, and they want to change it. They want you to use down 4-4 more. Maybe even the other moves. I like to do crouching, full crouch down 4. That was one of my most beloved tools in Tekken 7 when it comes to spacing, because I would go like to this range here, where while standing 4 would be a safe option to keep your opponent out, and sometimes even mix it up with full crouch down 4, because it hits so far, but the opponent is like, okay, if he is going to do a while standing 4 again from here, it's going to whiff like this. But what they don't know is that down 4 sometimes will hit from that range, right? Where while standing 4 would whiff. So it's rather a like very, I would say, niche way of poking, but that was my style of poking, right? And now with this version of Tekken, where everything is aggressive and you have tools like Fort 4-3 in the game, I use a lot of Fort 4-3 now. And yeah, it's kind of brain dead. I get that. But yeah, that's like talking about Fort 4-3, I will just mention that it got nerfed, or it will get nerfed, from being minus 13 on block. Oh no, not standing block. To minus 14 on block. So it's going to be way riskier. For some characters, that means they can actually launch it. Yeah, so I kind of get it, because I didn't even mention the properties on counter hit. Like, you get a guaranteed heat engager, and when heat is activated on counter hit, you even get a full launch, right? With 1 million of damage. And the longest combo you've ever seen, right? Yeah. So I kind of get it to nerf that move. But yeah, then they are talking about some fixes, like with back to 4, which can happen that if even like at a certain angle and maybe at the wall, the first hit will connect, but the second hit will whiff. I don't know if I can replicate it right now, but it's probably more likely to happen near a wall, where the collision detection is a little bit, weird, I would say. So it would happen. It would even happen in Tekken 7. Like, it always was a problem once this move was introduced, that the first hit will hit and the second hit will whiff. They also mentioned that they fixed this for this move. This happened to me a lot when I sidestep and then manually transition into a handstand, that the second hit will just whiff. For some reason right now it turns the character around, but it just happened that the second hit would just whiff. I even had some recordings. I don't know if they made it to my YouTube channel already, but yeah, you can see that the second hit will just whiff. And they fixed that as well. So, okay. Yeah, back to 3 and while standing 1-3. So, as I mentioned before, while standing 1-3 being a natural launcher on hit, but if the first hit gets blocked, of course, you can block the rest as well, and it's minus 14 on block. I'll just demonstrate it here. Minus 14, back to 3, also minus 14, and now they changed it to be at minus 15. I don't know if that was necessary, to be honest. I don't know, what can I say? Especially now in this game, it's already different than in the game in Tekken 7, because in Tekken 7, his relaxed stance was counted as floating, like Eddy was regarded as floating. That means that you would always get a float punisher, like a mini combo. And if you had rage, you can do rage art, wall carry, all of the stuff, you know. It would be horrible for Eddy to be in this situation. In this game, though, you can block from Negativa, and in Negativa you are still counted as not standing, but, you know, not floating. So you would do, you would have to do a standing mid 13 frame or 14 frame up to 14 frame Punisher to punish Eddy. And yeah, now it's even worse than in Tekken 7, because this becoming minus 15 means that in this situation I get this into like a full combo with wall carry, with heat, with all of this stuff, right? And yeah, I don't know. Which is crazy to... I only get this as a Punisher right now, and after the patch, I'll just get a full launch. And that's going to be the case for every character now. It's a crazy difference, in my opinion, to go from one to the other. But they felt like changing that. So we have to hold that. We have to hold that L. I can't say anything else about it. Yeah. So the next change is regarding his Power Crush, back 3+4. As you can see, it is now -7 on block, and the pushback is quite big, right? And it's one of those moves that I hated in Tekken 8 in general. Save Power Crush Heat Engager, and that's safe on block, obviously. And Eddy has that, Azucena has that, Victor has it. I don't know who else has this kind of move, but they are pretty broken, considering it's quite a low risk. What they're gonna do now with these kind of moves, I saw that also for Azucena, they nerfed it. They nerfed the tracking on that move, so you can sidestep it easier. And the frames on block are going to be nerfed as well, from -7 in this case to -9, which means that maybe it's not possible anymore to do it twice in a row without getting like really interrupted, or the Power Crush properties getting stuffed. Or maybe you can, like, the opponent can get a 1-2 jab without getting hit by this Power Crush. So yeah, and the pushback on block is going to be reduced as well. So I'm going to be way closer to my opponent, probably up to here or something, where, yeah, the opponent, once you try to do that move again, I think he can just grab you out of it now. So better be prepared and stop spamming that non-stop. I mean, it's quite hard to not spam that move because it's very good, as I said. Which is almost the case like with 443 as well, right? That's why they are starting to nerf these, in my opinion, brain dead options. But yeah, that's about the Power Crush. Yeah, 443 already mentioned, got nerfed. While standing 2 hitbox issues, apparently there were issues with hit detection, as you can see, or as I shown before with the heat quarter circle forward 4 from Eddy itself, this whiffed. So maybe this is going to be fixed as well, which is good. I never really had that big of a problem with that move, but fixes like that are always welcome, so I take it. And the last change is for Relax 4-3, where the hitbox of the second hit is expanded downwards. Because apparently it happened that, I don't know what situation, they always just write in certain situation, of course. Eddy would jump over the opponent with the second hit. He does a big jump, and in order to fix that, they would just say, okay, it just hits lower now, so he won't jump over the opponent. It would rather hit the opponent or cause the block animation to happen instead of jumping over the opponent, which is also a good fix in my opinion. But yeah, those were all of the changes that Eddy received. I hope I mentioned everything that the developers tried to do with this patch. In my opinion, it's a little bit harsh on Eddy. Some fixes are cool. I really hope that his heat burst now hitting lower actually opens up more combo routes. Would be really nice. But yeah, I'm kind of disappointed, but I can also quite understand the direction they are going with. But the changes with like back 3-3s, for example, is like now his Power Crush is also nerfed. Like, what is he going to do if he's getting pressured to death? Like, I don't know. I will just have to see. Maybe I just need to do standing 4-4, which is also jab interruptible. I don't know, but that's like the fastest thing that you can do now with Eddy. Before that, you had, like in previous Tekken titles, you had 1+2, for example, which was not that move. It was a 12 frame high, but it was a countered launcher. Yeah, it was launch punishable as well, because it was he would spin with his hands and then add the 3 on top of that. So you basically had the 12 frame countered launcher, but it was very risky, right? So instead of doing that, you would do forward. Now it's only just 2-1, but it was forward 2-1-4, where you could even counter it, confirm the last hit. So you would at least get a lot of damage, right, when you were interrupting your opponent's pressure, and you will get rewarded with this. It was pretty safe. Now in this game, I think it's not even a counter hit string anymore. So the only thing you can do is like this for 23 damage. Yeah, mash 4 and hope they don't block and jab you out of it. Back 3-3, hope that they don't block it, because you just die. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I really thought that Tekken Eddy, now with the new changes they gave him compared to the previous title, of course, is going to be somewhat at least high tier. But now I feel like they're going to put him down again, back to his place where he was in Tekken 7, where it's really hard with him to get any significant tournament wins. And I think the only person who is going to get big wins or going to go far with that character is going to be John Ding, to be honest. Not to trash on any Eddy player that goes to tournaments. Like, I will go to tournaments myself, but I just don't think that as a loyalist, if you solo main Eddy, I don't think there's going to be a big chance of you to win big. And if you do, you have my biggest respect, because I feel like this is one of the weirdest versions of Eddy that we have to deal with, because of his new moveset that you have to get used to. All of the legacy knowledge that you had as an Eddy specialist, like I myself, goes basically out of the window, and you need to get used to this new version of Eddy. Plus, compared to other characters in this game, and the whole core mechanics of this game changed, it's super tough. It's just really tough. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments about this version of Eddy, about the changes Eddy receives or received, because when you watch this video, the patch is probably already going to be out. And yeah, see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.